Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Swati, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the few tips that you need to know for the ATEX endodontic procedure, tooth number 8. I'll be making another video for tooth number 14, and in this video I'll only talk about the tips that you have to be sure of when you are starting the procedure for tooth number 8. Another video will be coming soon with the preparation of the endodontic axis and the obturation for tooth number 8. Okay, so before I start, I just want you to hit like, share and subscribe if you like the video, and let's start here. So the first and the foremost important thing when you are going to be giving your exam is to identify the right tooth. And it might sound very ridiculous, but it happens. Okay, during the exam, everyone is stressed, the pressure, and you might start it on the wrong tooth. So identify, let's count. So this is the same one that you'll have in the exam. Okay, the Modulo Pro that you use, most of the schools here in the US, you use in the labs. This is the same one, almost the same one you'll get in the exam too. So this is 7, this is your 6K9, this is 8. Now, before you even start the prep, then or you even put the rubber dam, the instructors will tell you that you have to put separate rubber dams when you are preparing tooth number 8 and then tooth number 14. Okay, so before you put the rubber dam on, you're allowed to mark. So what I did was that I usually mark the tooth, and this is the one next to the screw. Not sure if you can see here. So this is the one next to the screw. So don't make, I mean, there's no chance you can actually count wrong or mistake the one that's next to the screw. And before you start, if you put the rubber dam, you can draw something, or you can actually draw the whole measurements on this and then put the rubber dam and then start the procedure. And measurements is something that I'm going to be giving you tips on, because once that is right, most of your work is done. That's where a person can fail. In endo, the few places, the few points at which someone can fail is the measurements of your access prep, and then after that it's something like an obturation that you can fail on, over or under. Usually under obturation is not something anyone fails on, it's mostly over obturation. And then here the measurements. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to be sure about once you've identified the tooth. Okay, so I've already unscrewed and I have these teeth with me, so which I'm going to be showing you. So this is the tooth on which the prep is already done. Okay, and I have another tooth on which I want to show you the markings. So let's take the tooth with the markings. We can actually do on this only. Okay, so I'll show you how and where the markings have to be made for the accurate measurements. All you need is a very good mechanical pencil. I like this pencil because of the thin lead, and then when you have to make your markings, it's very it's not like going all over the place and you won't even know where to end the 1 to 2 millimeter. So first thing, you have to know the measurements. So, and for that you need the manual. You'll find the link to the manual in my comment section. And from here I can tell you, so from your mesial marginal ridge and from your distal marginal ridge, it's 1 to 2 millimeters. Okay, from your incisal edge, okay, it is 2 to 3 millimeters. You have to keep a distance for your prep. And from your CEJ, it is 4 to 5 millimeters. Now 4 to 5 millimeters from the CEJ should not be an issue if you are not the kind of person who wants to overextend everything. If you don't overextend, you'll never cross 4 to 5 millimeters from the CEJ, which is a distance that is required. Here 1 to 2 millimeters is the something where you make false or from the incisal edge. Now for that, what you have to do, my first step, pencil and mark the ridges. Okay, and how do we do that? So let me get closer and see. I use the side of the pencil, the lead, okay, and you just incline it against the tooth and mark it. So where my pencil is inclining, like here, you can see that is from where 1 to 2 millimeters distance from that to inside that you have to keep. Similarly for this, okay, so like I can draw here, then again if you can see, similarly inside the edge. You just have to hold it and get an angle, okay. Just trying to darken it so that you can definitely understand what I'm trying to say here. Okay, here. So you can see, let me hold it close to the camera. You can see these dark lines. This is what I mean, that the first thing that you should do is mark it. Okay, mark it very clearly so that you know. Now then use your probe. I'm having the Endo Explorer right now with me, but you should use an explorer and measure from this dark line 1 to 2 millimeter, and then once you've established these outer ridges lines, then inside you use your pencil and draw another triangle at 1 to 2 millimeter distance that you can see. So my triangle is right at the distances that is needed. So 1 to 2 millimeter from this ridge, 1 to 2 millimeter from the mesial ridge, and 2 to 3 millimeters from the incisal edge. Okay. Now, why you have to mark before? Why can't you just start when you do the axis? Okay, my second tip, first of all, my second tip is when you start when you make a punch cut, okay, usually use a number 2 round burr. So I don't know how anyone prefers, but some people directly go hit 90 degrees, okay, and then incline it. Or which the technique that I use is I directly go at 45 degrees, and when I punch cut at 45 degrees, because I'm not directly going on the facial wall, okay, I'm directly going here. So I make it at a 45-degree angle. You can see 45-degree angle, and that gives me the direct access. Now, this one is obturated, so you won't be able to see, but this is direct access. Okay, so third thing, for the exam, you need a straight line access. But this straight line access is not similar to what you get in your natural teeth, because in natural teeth, this is straight line access. But in this teeth, straight line access is something like this. The reason, because they've told you to maintain a distance of 2 to 3 millimeter from the incisal edge. Okay, that means this roof, it cannot go more, you cannot cut it more to make your instrument direct straight. So it will be something like this, but this is the straight line access that you get. Okay. Now fourth, the reasons why the triangle is needed, you need to be making sure of the dimensions first, because you might overextend. Now what are the reasons you might overextend? When I show a video, when I'll be uploading my second video on the preparing it, you'll understand it much better. But what happens is, when you are trying to refine the walls, when you're trying to refine this incisor, this mesial wall, distal wall, this wall, if you're not cautious, if you're using the burr at a high speed, or you're using the wrong burr, you might actually keep overextending, and that's a fail. Okay, that's a fail if it goes below 1 millimeter. So you have to have 1 to 1.5, or at least one, but try to be more than 1. For incisal edge, what happens is when you're filing. Now, like I told you, it's not a straight line access like in natural tooth. Since it's not a straight line access, what happens is when you're filing it, your as more and more higher number, 50, 45, 60, the file gets thicker. And when you're trying to filing, I'll show you in my video how to prevent not to have ledges. how to prevent from having ledges. But what you do is when you're filing, you come up and that hits this area. Okay. When it hits here, you get ledges. Now, minor ledges are allowed, that's not the issue, but where your ledge ends is from where they start measuring. So let's assume that I'm trying to draw this. Let's assume that you were not careful about your measurements before. You can see the dark line on this tooth at the incisor ledge here, the roof here. If you were not clear and you already had a 2 millimeter distance, just 2 millimeters, and on top of that, while filing, you got ledges, which is marked by you can see the black line. So then they're going to measure from end of this black line till this line that I've drawn. Okay, from this line till this line. And if I were already at 2 millimeters, right now my prep has 3 millimeters, so I have a good distance. Even if I get ledges, it will be hardly 0.5 millimeter. They'll count it 2.5 or at least or 2. So 2 is what we are asking for. But if you made 2, then you're going below 2 with the ledges. So that's why you always have to prep at a safer distance, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, this one 4 to 5, and then after that, when you're refining, when you're cleaning, smoothing the walls, that's when you'll get the right measurements that they're asking for. Those are the minimum measurements anyway. Okay, so be careful about the measurements. Once you're careful, once your prep is done and your measurements are right, half of your work is done. There is nothing else you have to do, because this is one place where people fail. Okay, this and over obturation here. Now over obturation, again, when I upload my next video on preparation, I'll teach you how to make sure you're not over obturating. Under obturation doesn't usually show up because of this, everything is covered by sealer. Again, I'll give you more tips. So follow my 4 tips that I've given you. Okay, 1, identify the right tooth, the one that is next to the screw. Okay, draw before you put on the rubber dam, right? Make sure of the measurements, go through the manual and then be sure that what are the measurements that are asked for you to pass, and draw them. Have a nice pencil and draw the outer ridges, and from that draw the inner triangle. If you've done these basic steps, for sure you have cleared 50% of the exam, and the rest we'll discuss later. Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends, anyone who can benefit from this, and stay tuned for my next video. Bye bye.